Hey guys, I'm here at Function Automotive today to test a very cool car. A car that's a piece of history. A muscle car, but not just any muscle car. A muscle car that's made to get you around the world. A muscle car that's made to drive. Today we're going to be looking at the Cruiser. 1, 2, 3. Hey everybody, and welcome to What It's Like to Drive. Today we're going to look at a piece of history. This is a 1967 Camaro RSSS. That stands for Rally Sport Super Sport. I know it's a lot of letters, but trust me, just catch up with me. This is going to be worth every minute of it. So this vehicle has a lot of history. It dates all the way back to this first vehicle. This vehicle was made to compete against the Mustang, and it's still in production today, and it has quite the history. So this is kind of the starting point of where everything came from, and it's very exciting to kind of take this car out and cruise it. Unlike some of the other cars that we've done that, you know, made to be drag cars or rally cars or race cars, this car has no aspirations other than getting from point A to point B, and in the most cruising way possible. This car is an automatic, and I know a lot of people would say automatic and they get a little bit. A lot of cars back then, especially when they wanted to cruise, were automatic. So this car is also a show car. It's done a lot of events. It actually just won second place in its last event that it was out to. So that's the thing, is I'm really looking forward to not only having a car that just sits there at shows, but actually drives around and can get from point A to point B. What are we going to review today? First, we're going to see what it's like to drive. Second, we're going to look at the costs, what's associated with getting this vehicle. And third, we're going to look at some pitfalls, some things that you may be willing to, you got to get ahead of before you purchase a vehicle like this, and what things are going to happen once you own it. But regardless of what we say, I am really looking forward to driving this car, and I'm sure a lot of you Chevy guys are too. So here we go. Alright, so I'm in right now. I've checked all my mirrors. I look really good. I can see everything really clearly. My peripheral vision, I'm actually kind of shocked at how well it is to see around. I got a nice roll bar behind my head. I kind of bump my head from time to time on it, but that's okay. I feel a lot safer in the car. One thing I noticed right off the bat was this car is solid. It feels very metal. A lot of cars today, you get into them and they feel plastic. They feel fake, like they're gonna ramble around. And when I get in this, it's hard edges. The seat's stout. It's made to fit me. So when I'm ready to drive, I feel like I'm in the seat and I'm ready to go. I hope I'm in the right gear there. Oh, one more. Aha. Yeah, see, I messed that up. I even got in the wrong gear. All right. That's the other thing. This is a automatic. So you're not going to be worrying much about being able to shift gears or do anything like that. When I did, like on the drag car build, I had to really worry where my gearing was. This one, not so much. I feel a lot more at ease driving like this. It's very fluid, very linear. I love that about this car, and this isn't beating me up very bad at all. The suspension is lowered as low as it can possibly get without worrying about scrapes and things of that nature. We do have little spots where I'm kind of paying attention to the road, and since it's not a stick shift, I can pay attention more to the road. Cruising wise, top 10 ace marks on it. Comfort wise, it's in the lower marks, unfortunately, but that's just how cars like these are gonna be. Usually with the suspension the way it's set up, it's gonna be a little bit more rough. You're probably gonna see me bouncing around a little bit. If you're looking for that comfortable drive, then maybe that Cadillac is the car for you. If you're not looking for something, you want something with power, then this is definitely what you want to look into. I have to say, of all the other cars, this is the first one I've ever driven that I really am not paying attention to anything but what I'm doing driving. I think the idea of focusing on that driving experience. This car's made to be driven. It's not made to drag race. It's not made to do other things. If you want to take it to a show, you can take it to a show. If you don't just want it for a weekend, you can do it on a weekend, and it'll do it. And it does it very proficiently. I really feel like that I could cruise with this car for long distances and get to shows. And this car is actually driven to all its events. And that's what I think is really great about it. If there's one thing that I can say that excites me about a car. It's when somebody says, not only do I enjoy it, not only does it look cool, but I can drive it, I can have fun with it. You know, this is the kind of car that you want to own. A little bit of gas. The last thing that I want to say about this car is the feel and sound of something like this. This is a 355. It's got an engine in it that is traditional for this type of vehicle, and that kind of traditional feel, traditional sound, everything about it is, if you really want that piece of history and you want to feel what it felt like to own this car if it was brand new right out of the showroom, this is probably how you're going to set it up. And having that automatic in it, it's just a great opportunity. This car has been a joy to drive. There's something about the history of Camaro that has something that I think not a lot of other cars have. It has a long and drawn out history, and this is really where it got its start, is right here in this chassis, driving around just having fun. Okay, so what is this car like to drive? It is indeed a cruiser, but it's not a cruiser in the standard sense. It's a cruiser in the muscle car sense. A lot of people are going, well, what the hell does that mean? What's a cruiser in the muscle car sense? Solid driving, just something metal about the car, the kind of car that you're just going to drive and flex your muscle. And it's something that muscle cars in general just really excel at, and that is it feels sure-footed on the road. It doesn't feel like it wants to waver from side to side. It feels like it's going to go straight when it wants to go straight. It doesn't feel like it's going to bend or flex. I feel very safe in the vehicle, and it definitely felt like the car I wanted to cruise in. So if you're looking for luxury level comfort, this is not the car for you. But if you need something that's raw, that will not apologize to you, that will get on the road and both give you power when you need it, or just cruise when you need it, just going down the strip at 30 to 40 miles per hour, then this car will do both those jobs. One other thing that I really felt about it is I felt very proud being in the seat. I felt like I could go to a car show, show this car off, and if people liked it, they liked it, and if they didn't like it, no big deal. It was a car that makes a statement, and it's very definitive, and that's something that you can't get out of a lot of cars even today, which I think is kind of sad actually, but that's the reason that these cars have lasted and withstood the test of time over and over, is because their ability to cover all these different things and be very solid cars. I was very happy with my drive. Okay, so what is the cost to own one of these? Well, if you were looking for one of these in the 80s and the 90s, you're probably going to have no problems whatsoever. If you're looking for one today, the prices can really vary. A car like this could easily go for $40,000 or more in the condition it sits. If you want to get a fixer-upper, I'm sure you're going to spend a little bit less, but even then, everybody today is asking big money for cars like this, especially the first year of production. So it's one of those things of just do your research, try to understand what you're getting into, and make an educated decision. Don't try to land on the first car. Do not be in a rush to buy a car like this. So make sure that when you getting into this, you know what you're getting into 100%. Now, the first thing this was done to this was a high revving engine. There was rebuilt that was done to it. That was actually done by the previous owner, so I don't know the cost to it. But obviously, when you're building a car like this, the engine is kind of the primary thought that goes into it. You want to build it for the job that it's doing. Cars that are drag racers are not always as good when it comes to cruising and vice versa. So a little thinking goes into what you're going to do for the engine. You could do the engine that came in it, so it makes life easier. But like I said, you may want to go up to a different engine. So I'd like to put a number on it, but it really depends on what you want to do with the car. And these cars have a lot of options. The next thing is obviously suspension. Suspension is going to be important. Again, this vehicle was lifted just enough so that it would be comfortable on the road, and lower just enough so it would be fun to drive and low slung. Something like that could be $4,000 to $5,000. Other people could do air ride or different things of that nature. and the price could go up depending on how you want to do it. Next is the interior, which is going to be important. If you want to cruise, your interior better be spot on. He purchased his seats for about $400. Seats today can go upwards of $2,000. It really depends on how much you want to put in the vehicle. If you picked up a good car from the beginning and you spent the $40,000, you may be doing zero work. But if you picked up a car that's, say, in the cheaper range, you're definitely going to have to put some money into it because somebody somewhere didn't take care of it. That's the thing is you can inherit these cars with problems, and you don't want to do that because it's going to take more time to work on unless you're the kind of guy that likes to turn wrenches. In that case, that may be the project for you. And the parts, I mean, they're Camaros. There's a lot of them. So chances are you're going to have a good time finding parts. That's kind of the easy part. So what's the maintenance like? What's the pitfalls of a vehicle like this? It's easy. You got to do oil changes, you're going to do tires, and you're going to do brakes. And even that's going to be dependent on what you put into the vehicle, how you drive the vehicle. On a whole, there's a reason that people love these cars. There's not a lot of electrical or mechanical things that can break on them. They're just very straightforward. These are the kind of cars that taught people to be mechanics. So why not be easy? That's the thing with the pitfalls too. There's really nothing to report on these. If you built it right from the get-go, you're probably not going to be fixing a lot of stuff on it because with the frames the way they are, they're very solid. It's a car that's just going to be reliable over and over. Now, if you're going to do it for show, there's one thing I'm going to suggest investing in, and that's a cleaning kit. And please do not go weak on these. A lot of these old paints can be very tough to upkeep. So if you kept the old paint on it, you may have problems with talc and rust and things of that nature. If you repainted it, you're still going to want it to look good. And I'm telling you, the roads out here are just crazy and nasty. So they can do very bad things to your vehicle. And other than that, just get in the driver's seat and drive. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to What It's Like to Drive. That's it for me today. Hey Animal, did you like it? Animal loved it, and I hope you guys loved it too. If you want to see more of this car, you can see it at Wayne's World Photography. We're going to put this information below as well as in the description so you can find it easier. I want to thank them today for bringing out the vehicle and letting me enjoy a classic piece of history. It was a lot of fun. I hope that you guys out there will consider owning a vehicle like this. It is something that I don't think anybody, if they do the right research up front, can regret. Oh, and don't forget, here's some other videos over here. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to continue our search for the next car, and as always, don't forget to drive.